Hey there, folks. It's me, Chris, with the Gigman's Live. Yeah, baby. It's a Gigman's Life indeed. And of course, if you notice, we are now up to 34 subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. If you wouldn't mind, also hit the notification bell so you can get notified about the latest videos as they come available. Because, spoiler alert, sometimes there's issues with the platform and me posting, because I tried to make sure by 10 a.m. there is a video up here Monday through Friday, but yesterday it seemed to be a minor issue. It didn't get posted until 8 p.m. because I don't know what. I went and looked at the YouTube studio page, and it was still saying it was loading. I don't know what the fuck that it was taking that long for. And, I'm hoping that it wasn't glitchy, content. I'm just double checking because, yeah, it wasn't anywhere near it. It could have glitched out and was just stuck there. But, on the other side, this video is talking about clearly, as I said, straight out, they need to do a lot more quantified training to ensure people understand policy. Now, I can go and say, yes, what you choose to do to protect yourself is your own business. But these companies have standing policy. I remember working up in the Berkshires for a family at their horse farm. And it wasn't one of those things that was clearly said, but, it's a place that has very wealthy people that visit, and an individual working there always never knew this, but had an issue because he was carrying concealed. And the real problem with carrying concealed is if you drop the gun. Yeah. So, that ended up being his last day there, although they said my horseman skills was not up there, and I returned there because I actually have some ethics, morals, and maybe, just because I'm somewhat manipulative in certain aspects, I don't try to use it to manipulate people. Not anymore, because it's pointless. Because when you manipulate people, shit comes back to you very quickly. And some people also don't realize that being manipulative also means you're easily to manipulate at certain points. And I try not to go and bring bad karma onto myself. I already have enough of it. But when you see people like this, and yes, that's why I led up with that story, because the person I was talking about, he also did livery or limousine services. He had his own business, from what he said. and still has some clients that he takes, and that he stopped the whole other part because of cost for the insurance. So when you see somebody pulling out a gun, now I'm pretty much sure that it's against Uber policy to have firearms in your vehicle, regardlessly of which state you're in. Also, you really should have more insurances, and the realization that this is crazy eyes. We do not know what's going on, considering the fact that she's got a mask on, right? And on top of it, whips out a gun because some type of an argument that she had with the passenger, telling the passenger to get out. And the passenger was a rapper, local rapper. There seems to be a whole big thing with local rappers. But you don't go and point a gun. And this is another thing that is going to convince lawmakers to rationalize why we should have self-driving vehicles for these services. This is going to make it easier for them to do this, because this is bad PR for us. And of course, Uber removed her from the platform, but this is kind of one of those things that Lyft definitely should have been notified about, or by, let's just see, 8 months ago, if this happened, Uber checks your background every 6 months. This means that she could have gotten deplatformed, but from Uber, but without criminal charges, or an arrest. She's still driving out there, possibly for Lyft. And just to roll this back of watching this whole scenario break down. Yes, it's my Betty Bad Post time, folks.
Shocking moments in the backseat of this Uber just outside Miami, Florida.
Yeah, Miami, Florida. And you've seen, I will say, at least, that is still crazy eyes there. But you watch it, at least she's practicing good gun handling, not safety. Fuck no, is she's doing safety. Because realizing a threat and deciding I am pulling the gun out, maybe not the pepper spray, or just saying, look, get out of the car. All they're doing is holding the cell phone. Now, possibly they could have the flashlight on. It is a wild eye look that she's got. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised her next move would be getting the finger into the trigger. But there was no reason for this. We don't know what type of conversation they had before, because this is always reactionary. I do not see her being, let's see, just trying to see.
The driver apparently on speakerphone with yelling at two passengers to leave the
Yep,
car.
that is a mount. I don't see any cameras. No cameras up. you know, and she's driving a Cadillac. She's Uber Black. Or, you know, it's either Uber Black. She definitely has luxury. And she's most likely on both platforms. I don't know, maybe she's even renting the vehicle. You know, there's always that possibility. You know, if you're doing the hustle in the right location, renting a vehicle is much better in points than driving and owning your own vehicle to do this, because you go in and out, and being up in that range, they have to make sure that you are getting top-notch vehicles to drive to do this, especially at the rental companies. And I do believe Hertz Miami has way more customers for doing Uber, and especially people who are getting better quality vehicles for it. I wouldn't expect a lot of people in Miami to want to ride around in my Kia Soul, except for people I just don't want to deal with. And that's not a dig, it's just the fact that you get a lot of people that you don't want to deal with, especially people who, like some of my passengers, were a bit on the large side. And you know, I'm not look, I'm a fat boy too, okay? And I'm diabetic. I have my issues. I'm not knocking or body shaming anybody for their issues. All I hope is that you try to improve your life, okay? And sometimes, really, I at times should go like this and say, no! I don't need that much weight in my car. It's a little car. Spend a little extra money, get XL service. You know, splurge on something other than your next fucking meal. But, you know, when you're looking at a situation like this, people pulling out a gun, making themselves the bigger issue. Now, if she didn't get a criminal charge, she has just gotten booted off of Uber, she's still driving around on Lyft. No doubt that she's still driving around if she hasn't gotten arrested, because there's background checks. And Uber, yeah, every 6 months there's a background check. And Massachusetts is one of those where they do really supposedly thorough 2 background checks and your driving record. So yeah, and I know people who due to court issues, just because of the pandemic, they got their license suspended because they couldn't go into court to deal with the issue, and the system automatically boots your license. Ain't that a great way to fuck with people that are out there trying to make money? You know? And then now that the suspension's on his record, Uber and Lyft will not let him on platform for driving people around. So he sticks to DoorDash, Grubhub, Roadie, Amazon Flex, and Spark. He's been telling me a lot about it. I am trying to get a time to interview him about the gig life and, why we all do this. And I know why I do it is because I have the freedom to stop doing shit at a minute's notice so I can take care of family issues. Having people over 80 years old in your family, your mother, aunts, uncles being up in their 70s, it's a lot. And to stop what you're doing, to have other families stop what they're doing, and they don't even live as close as I do. This is why we do this. But when you do this type of shit, first off, the best defense you have is just having the cameras and having the truth on your side for any argument that you get into. But when you're pulling a weapon out, you're now putting all of us and making it easier for them to argue for self-driving vehicles. Look, we can't trust people who do Uber. They might pull out a gun. Hey, look, you can't go and trust DoorDash. They might go and pepper spray your dinner because they had a hair across their ass. This is the type of shit that will bring the electronic book, because when you watch her reaction, look just on how aggravated she is. And I mean, this can be tired, this can be drugged up. It's hard to tell with the video, but I am pretty much sure the doors are open. So yes, that's giving lighting. The person's pointing a camera at her and she's wearing a mask. I'm like, honey, what the fuck are you wearing a mask for without the pandemic, unless you got some issues? And I mean more of mental health than actual health issues. And you're sitting there acting like the person's like, and you're telling them to get out of the car. If you got a gun and everything else, and this is another thing, the other individual who had a gun in the Orlando issue where he shot at the Uber driver 7 times and all over a dispute. This is where people start getting to saying no. This is the type of shit that's going down. Why am I taking my risk? Why am I going out? And that ruins us, because we need people to go out places. We need people to be working it. If there isn't, then business dries up. I had people at fast food places go like this and saying, oh, I wish it would be slow tonight. And I'm like, you don't want that. Because when it's slow, they look at cutting back costs. That means staffing your time. So what are you going to do when your paycheck is cut back? I'm purposely cutting back some of my paycheck because I'm doing these videos. I'm taking time out of my life. Also, I'm making choices. We have a major weather front coming through the country. And it's a bit of, do I want to take the chance of my car getting damaged in a storm? Because I'll tell you, when you're out here, and I had that video. Yeah. When you're out here and you're thinking about your safety, sometimes you are looking at things that are going on. And of course, this is also a reason why I do these videos live. This is not edited. And there's a lot of times that I go over this again and again and again just to have that close to perfection idealism of doing this all in one shot. And of course, oh, you see, that is okay. We are there, and we all live together. Okay, so, maybe sometimes I should just take a mental, emotional break from doing this. But, why should I do something like that? What the? Come on. Oh. Let's go to the app. Okay, let's just go. Zoop. And back over. And zoop. And back over. And here we go. You see this truck here? Now, this was last Saturday. And as you can see, I've already decided. This is one of the things that once you make your mind up on doing something, you go ahead and do it. I called it on Saturday because this was the third accident I observed. That truck slides into the vehicle in front of it. And, I'm taking it nice and easy. Everybody, I let this person get, no, I didn't. But you can see it right here. Like, yes, I even was having a moment of slippery slide. And this vehicle got hit. You can see, when you watch the video, you can see him. He's like, what the hell? And then, it's not a major damage, but then you can see when he's talking to the guy, he's still in his truck wondering what the hell. And then, I can't see it, but right there, he gave a good crimp right in there. And, that was the third accident I've seen. And I was just like, no, I ain't playing out in this winter wonderland. And you have to make those decisions. But, you don't make decisions like Crazy Girl here who, why? It's only a cell phone pointed at you. You're telling the person to get out. You're talking, and then you're just going crazy. We don't know what is going on. They did not want to comment what the discussion was on, and the passenger was a rapper. Of course, I will go like this and say, when you go and see it, At least it's better than dank DeMoss. I give a lot more credit, you know, easy on the eyes, but when you got somebody like this who's crazy eyed, we don't know if it's other issues. Because when you got people who are driving around in that type of vehicle in Miami, possibly looking at any and which way they can service their clients, and carrying a gun, it's just not a good idea. It's against policy. And of course, as you see, we're now up to 34 subscribers on YouTube, still one follower on Rumble. I really want to get that up to 100 in the next 6 months. You know, to unlock, because all these gig apps are a fucking game. You got to get to this level, get to that level, so you can go and make it. And, you know, of course, as I will always say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. This is the end of the video, folks. I hope you understand that I really wish everybody the best of luck if you're out here doing the gig life. Don't put yourself into some legal issues that you don't really need. Brandishing a weapon is not one of the best ideas. And if you get charges, you're going to be off of these platforms very quickly, because of the amount of background checks that they do. So I hope you are having a safe day. Take care of yourself with this storm that's coming up. I know that a lot of people are panic buying and everything else. So, and a lot of people are going to be out there. I'm just going to let you know, you got to judge the profitability factor being out there during a major storm to having the ability to be out there after making money. It might be great money to make it during a storm. It was some of the best money that I made was during storms, but I've been choosing not to be out there. I don't want to risk my car, and I hope that if you're looking at the situation, staying off the roads might be a good idea with this storm coming up. But I hope that you're all in good health and you have yourself a good one. Thank you for watching.